In this video, we're going to talk about Amazon Redshift and Redshift Serverless and how they fit into the bigger picture of analytics on AWS. Understanding these services will help you know when to use them, especially when you're dealing with large amount of data that needs fast and powerful reporting. Redshift is AWS's data warehousing service. A data warehouse is simply a central system where you store large volumes of data for reporting and analytics. Instead of running heavy reports directly against your production databases, you can move or copy the data into Redshift and run your analytics there. Now imagine you have an application that uses several AWS services. Maybe you're using API Gateway to receive requests, Lambda to run your backend logic, DynamoDB to store user data, S3 to store logs and files, Kinesis to stream events, SNS to send notifications, and so on and so forth. Each of these services can generate and store different kinds of data. Over time, you'll probably want to look at all these data together: user behaviors, system logs, events, and business data. Redshift is the place where you can bring all of these separate data sources into a single location so you can run powerful queries and get a full picture of what's happening in your system. Now let's talk about some of the key characteristics of Redshift. First, Redshift is fully managed. That means you don't have to worry about the physical servers, operating systems of the database, or anything that's happening underneath. AWS takes care of things like patching, backups, and basic maintenance. You only focus on loading your data and writing your queries. Second, Redshift uses something called massively parallel processing, or MPP. In simple terms, this means Redshift can break a big query into smaller pieces and run those pieces in parallel across multiple nodes. So instead of one machine doing all the work, multiple machines share the job, which makes complex queries on huge datasets run much faster. Third, you get automated data management features. Redshift can automatically back up your data, replicate it for durability, and scale the underlying resources with minimal or no downtime depending on your configuration. As your data grows, you don't need to constantly resize or re-architect everything over and over again. Redshift gives you the tools to keep things running smoothly, and most importantly, is designed for OLAP workloads. Now, online analytical processing, or OLAP, is a term for analytics and reporting on large datasets. This is different from OLTP, which is more than handling lots of small transactions very quickly. So whenever you hear terms like data warehouse, OLAP, or large-scale analytics in documentation or architecture discussions, Redshift should immediately come to your mind. Now, on top of these standard Redshift clusters, AWS also provides Redshift Serverless. Redshift Serverless gives you all of the power of Redshift without managing any of the underlying infrastructure. You don't choose the node types, cluster sizes, or worry about capacity planning. AWS automatically provisions and scales the resources based on your workload, and this is especially useful when your workloads are unpredictable. For example, maybe you have analytics jobs that run more heavily at the end of the month, or you have some ad hoc teams that run queries only from time to time. With Redshift Serverless, you don't have to keep a cluster running 24/7 just to be ready for those spikes. You pay based on the compute your queries actually use, and the service scales up and down as needed. Now let's walk through some typical benefits and use cases. The first benefit is Redshift allows you to run SQL queries over huge volumes of data. Think terabytes or even petabytes of data. This is especially helpful for BI teams, business intelligence teams that build dashboards, schedule reports, or any ad hoc analysis that they do time to time. Redshift can integrate directly with data stored in S3 as well, which is often used as a data lake. A data lake is simply a big central repository for all kinds of data, structured, semi-structured, or even unstructured. With Redshift, you can query data stored in S3 without always needing to load everything into the warehouse first, which is great when you're exploring or working with different formats like CSV, JSON, or Parquet. The next benefit is operational and near real-time analytics. Redshift can be used to analyze operational data and help you make faster decisions. For example, think of a ride-sharing or delivery company that wants to look at the recent trip data, current demand, and historical patterns to adjust pricing or driver allocation. The idea is that Redshift helps turn raw data into insights that can guide day-to-day operations. So to summarize the key points you should remember about Redshift is that first, it's AWS's data warehouse service built for analytics and reporting on large data sets. Second, it's designed for OLAP workloads, which means whenever you see data warehouses, analytical queries, or online analytical processing in a context about analytics, Redshift is a strong candidate. Third, Redshift is a fully managed service, and it uses massively parallel processing or MPP, which allows it to run complex queries quickly across large amount of data. The next thing you should remember is that Redshift Serverless gives you the same analytical power without having to manage any infrastructure, making it ideal for unpredictable or variable workloads. And last but not least, some of the common use cases include business intelligence or BI reporting, analytics on data stored in S3 data lakes, and operational analytics to support time-sensitive decisions. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Please make sure you're subscribed to our channel, and I'll see you in the next video.